Hi guys, it's Creek Terrarium here with Stir in the Pot, and today we're going to discuss Patreon. Please enjoy the preset image. I thought it was quite lovely, so I decided to keep it in the slide. So let's get started. This is a disclaimer that this whole slideshow video, whatever the hell this is called, was mainly just a joke for someone. Take it somewhat seriously in terms of the positive notes, as well as it's something to think about. This isn't necessarily an attack on any one individual or individuals who engage in Patreon. So just keep that in mind. If you want to come for me, that's all right. You know, my life's quite boring at the moment, so it might give me something to do. Other than that, let's carry on. So, what is Patreon? So, this is the Wikipedia definition. As you can read, it is a membership platform that provides business tools for creators to run a subscription content service, as well as ways for artists to build relationships and provide exclusive experiences to their subscribers or patrons. Now, this was the easiest way to get a synopsis of what Patreon is, because when I went to the Patreon website, I was greeted with an About Us page with a pop-up video, and I was like, fuck, this is gonna take ages if I have to write down word for word what they've said. So for your own viewing pleasure, I've decided to get some screen grabs and drawn what I could make of the video. So forgot his name. It's been 4 days since I've actually made this PowerPoint, so I could have checked, but just appreciate his dome and his beard and whatever his face. So what he described Patreon was as a membership platform that makes it really easy for creators to get paid. Now, focusing on the term easy, what I've taken from it is that it's easy to provide money to the creators, as in it's an easy way for you to transfer money rather than having to get their email and having to get your PayPal involved or having to meet them on the corner. So I think that's what the term easy refers to, and not that it's easy for creators to get paid, as in it's an easy way for them to essentially get money regardless of their content. This was Hank Green, I think. I'm putting something because I'm not sure. As again, I have only watched the video once, and it was several days ago when I watched it. So he was talking about how Shakespeare had patrons, that these patrons were rich bureaucrats, though, so, I don't really find how that really has anything to do with anything. Enjoy the Star Wars figurine in the back right shelf. Let's talk about the other side of this concept, which is the cosplay community. And that's what I personally call the toxic shithole, for the following reasons. Firstly, people love to stir the pot, including myself, or this video wouldn't exist. But when I talk about stirring the pot, I talk about how people like to do, let's say, likes to post things on social media that maybe seems controversial, or might be calling someone out, or might having a go at someone, which could easily have been done privately. But we do it on newsfeed, so everyone can see it, everyone can put their opinions in it, everyone can get involved. It's just one big clusterfuck of people fighting. Eventually the post gets deleted. I don't know why it happens. I suppose for some people that's how they get their kick for the week. Not personally, not my cup of tea, but it's, well, honestly, it is my cup of tea, as in I enjoy drinking it, but I don't like making it. Anyway, moving on. Number 2, gossip spreads like bushfire, and this really applies to anything in any, say, workspace or school, and that is that if you hear about something, it's probably everyone knows about it. If you say something, it'll probably get to at least half the community by lunch. There's a lot of bad blood, and this is not necessarily my own experiences, but from what I've heard, because as point 2, gossip spreads like bushfire, and that is that a lot of people have a lot of issues with different people within the cosplay community. This can be between cosplayers, this could be cosplayers and their partners who happen to be cosplayers, or other cosplayers know the partner and their friends, or cosplayers between photographers, or photographers between photographers, or cosplayers and convention runners, or conventions themselves. And of course that exists outside of the world of cosplay, but we're applying it to the cosplay community, so I just thought to put it down. And finally, everyone's a critic. This sort of comes to the stir the pot concept, but a little more specific, and where if someone posts say a picture of their cos test, a review of a film, you'll guarantee that you will get paragraphs long why they disagree, why they agree, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when it's bad where people are biased, then it becomes a bit of a storm of shit, where you just get a lot of people fighting and people not necessarily committing to justification and evidence, and rather just personal biases and really sticking to that part of their opinion. So it can get a bit messy. So I'd like to refer to the cosplay community's 5 commandments, which I pretty much made in less than 5 seconds. So the first one is everyone knows everyone. Now, if you're not really in the cosplay community, I don't know how you found this video, but cosplay community, firstly, I'd like to refer to as individuals who engage more in the cosplay socialization. So this may include on the online forums or groups. God, who uses forums anymore? Anyway, so the online groups, so this may be Facebook groups. Essentially, from my experience, it's mainly Facebook groups. But this could be meets, this could be social circles that are mainly cosplayers. Usually they're cosplayer friends. And anyway, so if you add someone with the community, you'll most likely have over 20 mutuals, which pretty much reflects that how everyone knows everyone. The big players, as those that put out a lot of content, everyone usually knows who they are and such. Number two is even if you've never met them, you probably know them. And that is that you hear about a lot of people. And by the way, that you probably know them is you know a lot about them. And that is you may know who their friends are. You may know what cosplays they do frequently. You may even know who they don't like. Most likely you will know who they don't like. 3. If you do something controversial, everyone will know. If you say something controversial, everyone will know, referring back to the gossip spreads as like a bushfire and that everyone likes to stir the pot. And finally, if you post something controversial, it'll feature as the latest gossip in the group chat. I am happy to admit I am one of those individuals. I know a lot of you are and won't admit. I know a lot of you are and will proudly admit because, everyone likes the tea every now and then, especially if it's people that you directly interact with or know about or have a personal, vendetta against. It's a good laugh to see the people that you don't like that much having a bit of struggle. Or maybe that's just me. Sharding for you. So, how does Patreon and cosplay interact? Let's talk about how these two concepts work together. Now, after a quick Google of the term cosplay and Patreon, we get this. Now, I'll let you enjoy this for a few seconds or pause the video. But you can see these glorious individuals in their cosplay. So after you've taken that in and you've formed your own opinions, let's talk about the common assumptions. These common assumptions are drawn from conversation with other people who have their own opinions about Patreon and cosplay, as well as, just some eternal ramblings at 3 a.m. in the morning. So, firstly, Patreon is a desperate grab for money. So we know how Mr. Domey Head was talking about how Patreon is an easy way for individuals to pay creators. You'd think that if they were so great at creating, why weren't they using their, say, skills, or I don't know what else they use Patreon for, as far as I know, which is cosplay pictures, and that why don't they use another way to gain money? I just see it as an alternative income source, especially if you are very heavily invested in cosplay. Anyway, number 2, how can people be so self-absorbed to think people will pay for their rewards? I guess I was being a little harsh in my wording. This will refer back to a system of tier and payment rewards, which I'll discuss further on. People discuss how the value of money can really translate to the rewards they receive. So people do have an issue with how this system is actually working for a lot of people. Number 3, and quite possibly one of the more popular opinions towards negative Patreon perceptions, and that is the hotter you are or the more skin you show, the more patrons you get. And from the from the research of patrons that I have viewed, this is quite a true statement, and that is that the more skin you show or the more raunchy or more M-rated cosplay that you get involved in, the more likely you will have people investing in your rewards, which will be discussed in a second. And finally, and the quite blatant, it's essentially porn. And I can discuss this later, but we'll first slip into the tier system. So, for example, you got a tier 1. I've used the League of Legends tier system because it's obviously the first thing that comes to mind when I think of tiers. I'll just pop these all out. I don't know why I animated them. I thought it would just look nice. Anyway, here you go. You can have a quick glance. So how the tier system works is you pay amount of money, say $1, or, well, sorry about that accent, say like $1, I don't know, maybe the next one's $5, maybe $10, and I've seen some go up to $400. It can get a bit hefty and really spoil your alcohol fund if you're paying tier 5. But yeah, so you can see it starts pretty standard with like you can have some behind the scenes footage of photo shoots. Most popular in cosplay is obviously the prints. And these are, I think, pretty genuinely high quality prints with signatures. But tier 5 we can look at, and that is the access to saucy photos. And this is what a lot of people have problem with, where that people will pay a significant amount of money for photos of scantily clad, in quotation marks, cosplayers, which I don't know how it becomes cosplay when you're not wearing enough to actually constitute its costume, which is a very common perception, and even I share a little bit where, I don't know, I'd say it's more like a character-inspired lingerie. I don't really consider it cosplay. So this is the mathematical equation I've worked out with, which is if you show your bits, you get patrons and you get the cash D. Everyone's like, oh, it's mainly just, paid porn. It's a way for you to get money because you can pretty much exploit what you have. Most people say it's not necessarily fair because some people are more conventionally pretty or just have the right assets or have the right connections to have really good high quality photos. My response to this whole concept is why would you pay for it? Because essentially porn is free. Why would you pay for it through the Patreon system when you can get it for free? So this is why the whole concept of the cosplay Patreon saucy photos really confuses me. I don't know why any money goes towards it. I'd like to end on a positive note, and that this is let's say a shout out to all those individuals who cosplay who may have a Patreon, may not have a Patreon. For those who like to cosplay for themselves, who put all this effort and all this money and all this time and energy into constructing these really great complex cosplayers. Not necessarily has to be complex, but you've done it yourself. The thing that you have is tangibly yours. I feel for those people, they should be proud of themselves. They should not think that any amount of money that comes from other individuals defines whether or not your cosplay is good. I think that if you feel like you've achieved what you wanted in the end, that's enough. And I know a lot of individuals who do Patreons, or those who don't, are concerned or upset or let this concept of money and appreciation to equate to their own value, that it isn't true. You individuals are smart, funny, beautiful people with capabilities well beyond my own in terms of the cosplay scene, as well as externally in your studies or your careers. And that, for me, that's all that should matter in the end. Anyway, I'm probably going to now edit this piece of shit. And probably find something else to do in the meantime in terms of the T series. If you have any suggestions of what I should discuss in the future, I'd love to hear it. If pretty much it's going to be like 3 of you watching it, so thanks guys for the support. This was a dry run through. I hope you enjoy. I can't stop this.